Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Diabetes on a Budget, a series of videos where we discuss how to manage diabetes even in the midst of difficult economic conditions and difficult finances. So last time we just gave an introduction about what's diabetes. In this episode, I'm going to talk about nutrition and how to do nutrition on a budget. But to do nutrition on a budget, we need to understand a little bit more about nutrition to begin with. So I'm going to explain something about food and how it's classified. There are three what we call macronutrients, which is a fancy name to say big food groups. These are the protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Now, a lot of people have in their minds that protein is good and carbohydrates are bad. But that's not exactly right. There are things that are good and bad about protein, about fat, and about carbohydrates. But the main thing is that for diabetes and in general in the body, protein and fat do not break down into glucose. It is the carbohydrate part that breaks down into glucose. Now, protein, as you probably know, is the animal proteins, as in meat, chicken, fish, pork, but also vegetable sources of protein, such as in beans and lentils. There are some fats that are saturated or unsaturated, like, for example, to just give examples of fat, butter, lard, and oils. These are fats. Now, when it comes to carbohydrates, which is the group I want to really focus on because it's the biggest group, but also it's the group that affects diabetes significantly because the elements of this group turn into glucose, which is, as we discussed last time, the main form of sugar in your body. To simplify and perhaps oversimplify, I'm going to classify carbs into three things: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, that is in how they affect your blood sugar for somebody who has diabetes. The good is fiber, the bad is the starches, and the ugly are sugars. Now, the fibers are present in vegetables and fruit, but notice that fruit don't simply have fibers, but they also have glucose or sugar that is going to affect the blood sugar, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the future, in future episodes. Just remember now that vegetables and fruit have fiber, which is good, but that fruit also contain some natural sugars that can affect your blood sugar. The second part, or the second group in this category of carbs, is the starches, and that's basically things that look white or whitish yellow or yellowish in your diets. Examples include rice, potatoes, pasta, bread, corn, oatmeal, cereals. Those are flour. Those are starches, or they call them the fancy name complex carbohydrates, because they break down into glucose also in your system. The third group, which is, we call it the ugly group, is sugars. And the worst part of sugars is the artificial sugars. Those are things that are found in sugary drinks, as sodas and juice, sweet tea, and so on, or in desserts, cookies and candy and so on. But also there are the natural sugars, which are better, but still affect the blood sugar, and they are present in fruit. So to put it in a nutshell and simplify, the job of a person with diabetes when it comes to nutrition, and especially when it comes to carbohydrates, is to try and cut out the artificial sugars, to cut back on the starches, and to eat more of the fibers. That's to put it in a very simple nutshell. Now, how do we go about doing those things? I'm going to talk about that in details in future episodes, and especially as it pertains to the sugars that are going to affect your blood sugar very much. I'm going to talk more about that in the next episode, so stay tuned. And if you like this video or video series, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you, and until next time.